Well, this is something that I don't usually do. How should I start this? Whatever. Maybe just the old way. Hello, everybody. This is SpikeCatch8 with a new video of today. And all I can say is, man, was 2020 a horrible year for us last year. Let's just hope that 2021 will be better this time around. Before we get started onto my updates for the year of 2021, I thought about telling you guys about my experience and thoughts with 2020, just because I got a lot to discuss about this. So, let's get it on. Excuse me for the stuttering. Now, somewhere around the month of October of 2020, my parents had just gotten home from vacation, and so far things were going alright. However, a few days later, my dad suddenly started to feel a little bit sick. We then soon realized that he had COVID-19 and we all had to stay home until things settled down for a few weeks. A few days have passed and all of a sudden my mom gets it. And then later, I get it. And oh boy, all I can say is that it was terrible. I could not taste anything, I couldn't sniff anything, body was aching, stomach was sick. It was just a mess. Luckily, my boss told me just to stay home and work remotely at home, since I work at a bank, after all. It was nice to actually stay home and work, but I was not allowed to leave the house until I was cleared of the virus, as you well know because of COVID-19. Now, I can handle being at my house from time to time, as well as just doing my usual stuff that I like to do. But there's also times where I just want to get out of the house and do something like go out to eat, go shopping, or walk, those type of things. And before any of you say anything, don't worry. My family and I are doing alright. The virus has passed and everything is working out just fine, so we're all good. So you don't need to worry about a thing. Same goes for my relatives, since they also had COVID. But they all survived and passed it through. But it's nothing compared to what happens next. A few weeks go by, and then all of a sudden I found out my brother had a seizure attack at his work. He was later rushed to the hospital and realized that he was bleeding from the inside of his brain. But luckily, my brother survived the surgery. They were able to fix him up. He's able to, speak properly, even though I still need to work on that because of my autism. He's working pretty well, and everything's working out fine, so I'm glad that my brother was able to survive the whole surgery thing and be able to work back normally. But oh boy, later on in that month of November, the worst was yet to come. I was apparently misunderstood by my former friends from a Discord server, all because I gave my opinion about a year-old drama, soon about to be 2 years, that's dead and resolved. Now, for those of you who are wondering what the hell the drama is about, let me explain. Back on October of 2019, there were supposed leaks that got out about an incident of a Discord server known as the Loot House. And there were certain users who were doing such sexual related stuff, but unfortunately some of the members in the server were underage, which were roughly about 16 to 17 years old, while others were in their 20s. This, however, is definably irresponsible of them, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Because of this, I had to cut ties with these certain individuals who were part of that, except for two. I won't say who they are, but I'll explain why. It's because they admitted their mistakes, fully confessed to what happened, didn't make any excuses, and were willing to accept the consequences maturely. Now, I also want to make this positively clear. I don't condone for their actions and for what they've done in the server. That is up to the offended party to or to not forgive the offenders. If you think for a second that I'm defending these certain individuals, then clearly you're emotionally conceited to have common sense. Now, I know you're thinking, okay, so it's a 2-year-old drama or 1-year drama. What's the point? Well, someone brought up that drama to a former friend of mine known as Rakadile during a voice chat that I was in his server. When I overheard this drama being talked about, all I basically said to the guy was, the guy is beating a dead horse. And what does he do? He mistook what I said as I was defending these certain individuals, when I clearly wasn't. This ended up me getting kicked from his server and also 2 servers that were made by the Inverted Shadow, thus losing friends without letting me get a chance to talk about my side of the story, making them completely one-sided. Before he kicked me from his server, he made a status post about what happened, and I noticed that I was mentioned in it, but I couldn't have time to read it all the way because I was busy with real-life stuff. When I noticed that I was kicked from the server, I tried to ask my friends what happened, but most of them would just go either like, oh, you know what you did, or you can read. So finally, when I was given the post about what was said about me, I looked at what Rakadal had said. And boy, I got a lot to say about this. So because I gave an opinion about a year-old drama that's almost going to be 2 years, that's practically dead and resolved, I'm supposed to be the bad guy here? Really, I'm supposed to be the villain. This is just petty as shit! The post he said about me sounded so emotionally conceited. Usually when I have a problem about something, I usually go on a tirade about I think it's stupid and express my opinions on it. Like what my old friend Realm would say, we're people. We have minds to form opinions and we have every right to show it any way we please. Even if someone might not agree with that, it shouldn't mean we're completely restricted to stating our thoughts on something. Again, I want to make this clear. I never defended these individuals from the Loot House drama. I never condoned their actions. I never forced anyone to forgive them or accept their apologies. I simply said that the drama is dead and resolved and I want them to move on because I don't want to hear it. Because honestly, I'm sick and tired of hearing old drama that's being brought up over and over again. And what's also funny, or weird, he compares this drama to the Toon Critic incident. And for those of you who don't know, Toon Critic was a known child predator in the Brony fandom, or Brony community, however you want to put it. And honestly, that is a terrible comparison because, 1, these 2 individuals actually acknowledged and agreed to what they did was wrong. However, Toon Critic didn't. 2, he made countless excuses such as being in the bad place and I didn't do it with the intention to hurt, and also was more concerned about his career and handling his problem his way. Seriously, people, you should really consider these matters depending on if the offender either agrees that their actions are completely wrong and has remorse, or if they have no regrets in their actions and are making excuses for it. And I will say this, however, I have no problem if people forgive or don't forgive the Loot House individuals. It's their choice, so that's not my problem. My problem is how I was treated by my former friends over an opinion about a drama that's been resolved and nothing has happened ever since. How is saying that a year-old drama is a dead horse automatically means I was defending them? Short answer, it isn't. If I were to say something like, oh, this is old news, leave these people alone, then yeah, that would be considered defending. But that's not the case. All I simply said was, the topic is dead, move on. That is it. And to be perfectly honest, if you can't move on from this, you're clearly stuck in the past and it's a very unhealthy and toxic way to live life. If you think that makes me a pedo defender, then you clearly are too emotionally conceited to have common sense. Again. These all just sound like a bunch of people that are so emotionally charged. They're so desperate to make changes, they're willing to destroy their own friend circles. I then noticed that Rakadal had a beef with a certain user by the name of Holding Sprites, who, without going into further detail, is an obvious troll. He then makes his journal explaining his thoughts on both me and Rakadile's journals and gave his opinions on both of them. He criticized Rak's journal about how flawed and contradicting he sounded, and Rakadile got all defensive about it. And you know what else is funny? Rak claims he doesn't care if I'm friends or talking to these individuals, yet he bothered commenting on one of my pictures that featured one of them saying, "Finding it hard to fake pictures of yours, Spike, when certain creatures are present in them." So way to go, Rak. You're contradicting yourself even more. Hell, you and even the other former friends that I had didn't care if I was talking with them, as long as I don't mention them in your own server. And I never did. The only time I ever brought them up, only once, was only in the Inverted Shadows server, because there wasn't a rule to not mention any of the Loot House individuals. I also heard that right after you blocked me, you claim you did this out of respect for your friendship of me. Seriously, how is that supposed to be respectful? That doesn't sound like you respect me at all if you blocked me. So in reality, it just turns out you were just being a fake after all these years. It really angers me how you're twisting and manipulating the narrative and trying to make it sound like I was defending and condoning the Loot House individuals' actions when I fucking wasn't. That sounds like something a social justice warrior would do. You then claim that people can go on and live life freely and whatever they do is their choice. Oh, so it's perfectly fine for people to do freely whatever they want, just as long as it's not something that you don't like. Such as what I had to say about the drama. Because of that, you immediately just shun them off. Seriously, why are you such a fucking liar? It's like what Holding Sprite said to you. It sounds like more like you're starting a cult, or at least trying to be in one. People like you are the reason why cancel culture is terrible. And when Holding Sprites called you out saying how much of a trash and pathetic excuse of a friend you are to me, what did you do? You blocked him. You took tail and ran from him. We have a word for that, Rakadile. That's called being a coward. You're a chicken shit coward who isn't willing to have the guts, the balls, to talk about this, but shrug off the criticism and complain about it. You also claim that a mutual friend at the time told me that person did not feel comfortable in my friend's server because two of these individuals are in it, and she knows what they've already done, and with her being a minor. You then say that I said to her, "Oh, they've changed," and "Oh, they're not the same person." First off, none of those things are true. Second, I only asked her why she left the server because one of my closest friends, Venom, was concerned for her, so I came to talk to her and asked her why did she leave. She told me her reasons, and I fully understood them and gave her my opinion on it. But I never forced her to give them a chance. Neither were these other people that left the server. So again, another lie and slander. If what I said to him about my opinion hurt him, then I'm sorry because I'm a blunt, honest person. I would also like to call a truce with him if he's willing to talk to me since he claims that he still misses me. But if he still wants to keep going on saying, "Oh, the damage is done," I could care less at this point. Hell, I don't even care if he accepts my apology, respects me, or even forgives me. You think making that journal exposing you was to be solely respected, Rak? You think making this video right now exposing you for the fake that you are just to be respected? Hell no! I'm fine being an outspoken person. You may not respect it, I don't care. Because even if you don't, someone else might see my viewpoint and agree with me, and that's all that matters. So, really, there's nothing else I can say about it other than probably listing a few adjectives. He's petty, full of contradiction, manipulative, a coward, hypocritical, untrustworthy, arrogant, petulant, and desperate. There might be a few more to describe him, but it's best I don't drag this out even further. I will say this, however. To all those watching this, including rack at my former friends. Please don't go witch hunting down these people, like harassing, death threatening, and even spamming, because it's not really going to help the situation even more. Like, really, it's not going to help if you do that. I don't care if you give your opinions or criticism towards those individuals, including my former friends. And I will also say this: disagreeing with someone does not equal harassment. I just want people to understand the situation I was in so they can fully understand my side of the story. So, in a nutshell, Rackadile, you fail. If you truly miss me, unblock me and I'm willing to call a truce with you. Otherwise, if you're still going to remain blocking me and not willing to have the guts to talk to me, then that's your loss. I'm done. Go fuck yourself. Well, now that I've that gotten out of my chest, it's time to move from 2020 and focus on 2021. What will I be doing in 2021? Well, I do plan on doing more gameplay videos with a couple of my friends, like more Overwatch, Left 4 Dead 2, Smash Brothers, Splatoon 2, and more other stuff. I also still plan on streaming more of my WWE 2K19 game, but I had to update a few things, such as adding new characters and removing certain characters because of the misunderstanding. I also plan on doing other game streams as well for the future, kinda like how I did with the Splatoon 2 Splatfest. Not sure if this is official yet, but it's still on my mind. And, for the first time ever, I will be working on my very first Garry's Mod animation video. I'll show you what I've got so far, just to let you know what I'm working on.
Let's do it! Drunken fool. I seek my best prey. God! You've deceived me for the last time. You will die. Your rule is over.
Oh, brilliant! See? Face.
You will die, an arrogant fool.
Ah!
Get over here!
I am dead.
You talk too much.
Couldn't skip around it, could you? You precious little posy.
Mercenary dog. Your firearms cannot stop me.
Piss.
I grow tired of this. This is the end of you.
Yeah, it's not the best, but I'd rather start with the basics first, then move on to the more challenging parts when it comes to Garry's Mod animation. And finally, I've been thinking about doing a Q&A video. However, before any of you comment on posting your questions, I have not confirmed it yet, so hear me out. I'm still deciding whether I should make it a live stream Q&A or a normal Q&A. I'm not sure yet, but I'll come up with something eventually. Or I could just follow the comments and ask, what do you think is more better? So yeah, that's my whole thoughts on the terrible 2020 and updates for 2021. Let's just hope this year turns out to be good, since the pandemic is slowly going away and vaccines are coming out and people are slowly recovering. So all I can say is this: hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Cheerio, amigos!